Hey guys, Coach Jason, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. Today I want to go over recovering fully from a marathon. This is a doozy, okay? Whether you're experienced or whether this is your first time running a marathon, these are things to keep in mind, to apply. I've not only used this on myself, but with my athletes to make sure that people on the back end, so the training, obviously you're making sure that they're prepared, and the more prepared they are for the marathon, then the better they're going to be able to capitalize on the back end and recover properly. So keep that in mind too. It's important to not only be prepared, but on the back end to do the little things to help you recover properly and take the time and to be patient with it. Okay. Obviously, some more experienced athletes can come back a little quicker, but for a first-time marathoner, not knowing what to expect, we'll go over that, and we'll go over some specific things on what to do, for the first 24 hours or 48 hours, and then what to do for the next 6 to 8 weeks, because they're both important, okay? And it's important to kind of do the little things to help you put yourself in a position to go back and do the big things again, all right? By the way, if it's your first time to the channel, welcome, all newcomers. Hope you enjoy the content enough to come back. If you just like running content, really good running content and training stuff, then this channel's for you. So subscribe right now, hit the bell next to it. Take a look at the 100+ videos that I put out. Always look in the description. I put a bunch in there as well. And then be on the lookout for the stuff I'm going to be putting out moving forward too. But with that, let's get to the topic of the day. Again, how to recover fully from a marathon, okay? So some obvious things too. Just to, if you haven't run a marathon yet, your tummy is probably going to be a little unsettled for the day, okay? It's just normal. You're beating yourself up, okay? You're wiping your body out, and it's going to need some things to be able to recover gradually, okay? So about 30 to 40 minutes after, and this applies actually to runs, workouts, long runs. I always encourage folks, get something in your belly about 30 to 40 minutes afterward, okay, to help speed up the recovery process. Now, from a marathon, it's going to be a little different, okay? It doesn't really matter what it is, whether it be banana or cookies, doesn't matter, okay? Let's get something in your belly for 30 to 40 minutes, and it doesn't have to be a full. It could just be one cookie. Something to help put yourself in a position to restore, liver and muscle glycogen that you've been pretty much wiped out during the marathon, okay? This is just it's a step towards the normalization process, okay? To help get you to the point back where you're feeling normal and your tummy's feeling normal, that you could take down a full meal again. And it may not happen for 24 hours. That's fine, okay? You eat and you hydrate as you can, as you feel comfortable with, that at least that first day, okay? And again, it helps to rehydrate the body and to rejuvenate the blood glucose levels, okay? It's going to help you feel better, and it's going to help you feel a lot better sooner. And at some point when your stomach settles down, you'll be able to enjoy a full meal again, okay? And just keep that in mind. For the more experienced folks, you probably know this already, okay? But you don't feel like you have to just pound the food and stuff like that, because chances are you're not going to feel, that's not going to make you feel any better, okay? It's okay, just eat what you can, drink what you can, okay? For at least the first day. It may happen, you may feel normal quicker, that's totally fine. But it may take up to 24 hours, that's totally fine too, okay? But again, don't force yourself to eat or refuel heavily that first day. Just eat and hydrate as you can, and let your appetite for a full meal come back to you. Be patient, okay? And patience isn't always the easiest thing. It hasn't always been the easiest thing for myself as a former competitor, and as a coach. You want results to happen right away, and when they don't, you wonder why sometimes. It's okay. Being patient is a good thing, okay? But again, it's easier said than done. And I do speak from experience, 20+ years as a former competitor and a coach at the high school, college, and post-collegiate level. And yeah, it's definitely a thing that I've dealt with over the years, and athletes have dealt with over the years. Happens. It's okay. So that's essentially the first 24 to 48 hours, okay? It's going to be hard to walk up and down steps, things like that. You may have to go sideways, but don't force yourself to get out. Just relax. You can take a nice hot shower, put your feet up if you can, and I would not plan any extensive walking activities, at least for that first week. Stretching regularly, good thing, but I would take it gingerly for that first week. Allow yourself to fully recover. And my recommendation is always 2 weeks of no running at all, okay? So obviously you're going to relax for the rest of the day, but no running at all for 2 weeks. The first week, you just walk. You want to stretch as much as you can. Even if you stretch 10 to 15 minutes a day for that 2 weeks, totally fine. But no real activity the first week. Again, walking around is fine, but no exercise at all. Okay, you have to let yourself recover. And for some it takes 4 weeks, and for some it takes 8. It doesn't matter. Okay, this is not a 5K where you run it and you can come back 2 weeks later and do it again. The marathon's a whole different beast. Okay, and it requires an extensive recovery process or a recovery period afterward. Okay, week 2, I tell my athletes that so maybe some light cross training. You can do some light biking or elliptical or swimming. Swimming's great because it's a non-invasive. It's a non-impact exercise, but your legs are probably going to be fatigued. Okay, so give yourselves 2 weeks of absolutely no running. Again, light cross training in week 2 for a couple days, whatever, every other day, whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, whatever you want to do. Okay, this is your 2-week vacation. Okay, from training. After that, for the next 4 to 6 weeks is where we kind of see where you're at, see how you're really feeling. Okay, and light running, beginning in week 3 post marathon, maybe even if it's every other day, 20 or 30 minutes, whatever it is. Okay, or a little bit more depending on experience levels. Okay, some folks that are more experienced can do a little bit more. Okay, let yourself ease back into a regular routine of running over the next 5 to 6 weeks. Okay, how I generally lay it out. Let's just say if you were training 60 miles a week leading up to the marathon. Let's say over the next 6-week period, I do a 6-week gradual back up to volume. Okay, so weeks 3 and 4. Okay, 1/3 of the volume. So let's say you're at 20 miles per week. Not really much, but again, you just run a marathon 2 weeks ago, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, the next 2 weeks after that, weeks 5 and 6 post marathon, you're at 2/3 volume, so at 40 miles per week. Okay, and then week 7, 8, which is 5 to 6 weeks after that, you're back at full volume at 60 miles per week. So even though it's 7 to 8 weeks post marathon, it doesn't matter. Okay, this also gives you an opportunity to reevaluate, look at the training, see what worked, see what didn't work, and decide also what you want to focus on for the next season. Shorter races, you want to do another marathon or whatever it is. It gives you time to do that, but it also gives you time to recover, rejuvenate, rebuild, okay, rest, and you kind of gradually build back up to your regular training volume again. And again, I generally have a 2-week incremental block. So you're running the volume, and then you're adapting the following week, and you're adding, then adapting, adding, then adapting, instead of just going straight up like this, where you can fatigue, and it can just make the recovery process a little bit more tough. Okay, for some, not all, but for some. I take a conservative approach back, I would rather take the time to get you back to where you were than do it too quickly and then have to take 2 steps back because of injury, illness, or whatever it is. Because keep in mind too, the muscles and the structural integrity of your body has been compromised too with running a marathon. And you have to let your body recover too. Your joints, your muscles, there's going to be pain, soreness, things like that. All those things are factors, and you don't really know, especially whether it's a flat marathon, whether it's a hilly marathon, the recovery might be different. New York City Marathon is brutal. Okay, it's rolling hills for 26 miles. So you have to allow yourself the time to recover, no matter what you do. All right, and if you rush things back, then you're going to you can set yourself back. And again, more experienced athletes who have run multiple marathons can come back or bounce back a little bit quicker. That's fine too. Okay, but I like to take a conservative approach no matter what. And even towards the back end, maybe the 5th and 6th weeks of your regular running again, I throw some strides and acceleration in there, just to kind of get the legs a little bit feeling crisp and turning over a little bit. There's always a speed development component to my training programs anyway in the beginning to kind of help the acceleratory process and a transition into other things. So instead of doing mile repeats and stuff like that, I like to do a short and sweet stuff. Okay, but these are things to look out for. Okay, I wanted to keep the video short and sweet, but these are things to look out for and to emphasize and remember and to practice after you recover from a marathon. Again, the recovery component is going to be different for everybody. So, again, the more experienced athletes might come back and bounce back quicker, usually can, but some of them need, a longer recovery process too. If you notice, like some of the top marathoners in the world, they only run 2 marathons a year, for the most part. There are some that run more, but the overwhelming majority run 2. Again, this is a long recovery process and then a long build-up again. Okay? So this gives, this puts you in a position to do that. Or again, focus on shorter races the next season, whatever you want to do, which can in turn make a marathon the following spring or fall that much better after you've brought some times down, you run some faster PRs, things like that. So they all complement each other. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful. Again, hit the thumbs up if it was, and be sure to subscribe to that channel now before you head out. Okay? And always look in the description down below for videos. They're always kind of relative to each other. Okay? And I also put a stretching routine, by the way, down below in the description. That's a fantastic pre-race stretch routine, and a perfect post-run, post-race recovery stretch routine, okay? I learned it 20 years ago. I'm a Wharton certified musculoskeletal and flexibility therapist. It's a game changer. It's a life changer, okay? And I've used it for the past 2 decades plus on myself. I'm also a lifelong martial artist, so it helps me on that end too. But I highly recommend, I highly encourage you to take a look at it because it can help you on both ends, particularly with a marathon. So be safe out there. Have a great season. Talk to you next time.